Okay, hopefully I'm in autofocus right here, but I'm going to talk about overlanding or overland travel. Big discussions and internet debates over what it is, what, kind of what's happening with it in the trends nowadays. In my life, I've always known of the term. It's an old Australian term. Australians have always been big into off-road. It used to go back to, in the United States, I would say, in my memory, the old Camel cigarettes. They're off-road Land Rovers. They would do the discoveries and stuff like that. It's always been very capable, very simple, utilitarian off-road vehicles. And the destination was the reward, or the trip was the destination. It's adventure travel. It's getting to someplace. There's some douchebags on the internet that say it's only overlanding if you go overseas in some exotic locations. Complete BS. Those guys are full of themselves, and maybe if I had a fake British accent and I talked military lingo on my radios to my friends, but that's a whole nother story. What it is, though, it's just it's a combination of going somewhere where the destination has some adventure to it. It's not going to the mall, which unfortunately I would say like 99% of the overlanding rigs that I run into nowadays are made for the mall. They're the new mall crawlers. That's just what it is. Just like back in the day, off-roading, you lift up your trucks and all that. People just like the way it looks. It looks cool. They have this idea of off-roading, so they lift their trucks, and their trucks never, they never leave the pavement. It's the way it is. It's the goats. It's the way it is. So behind me, there's our overlanding rigs. We've got the old Silverado four-wheel drive. It's got good all-terrain tires, and it's got some ground clearance. Rust, but it does the job. And then we have our Hyundai, our little Kona, all-wheel drive. That has probably seen more off-road. It's my wife's. That has probably seen more off-road than 90% of the overlanding rigs that I know of personally in our area. Right now we're in the Midwest. We own some land in Arkansas, and some of the roads there that a lot of these Instagram overlanders film on in the Ozarks, some of those in the Ozarks, if you go there and ask somebody about that, they're just like, oh, that's Monday. Daily life, crossing water, washed out roads, forestry roads. That's a lot of the rural Ozark roads are gravel, and a lot of them are pretty rough, and a lot of them require crossing water. I'll show some clips of our Hyundai crossing water and washed out roads. We recently went up a road and bottomed out the Hyundai, and it's it's not the best vehicle for it, but it's what we have, and it's actually got some really good. I'll put in the link in the notes. We've got some all-weather tires. I seriously thought we were going to pop a tire, and these tires have held up phenomenally. So I'm not trying to, it's overlanding hopefully does not become some new thing where you get a duck on your dash, little rubber ducks or whatever, because my wife refuses to let me buy a Jeep because of that. And it's what is overlanding? I mean, it's what you want it to be. I mean, it's destination adventure travel. I mean, it can be anything. Some people look at it as, a way to go do the other things you like to do, such as you want to go fishing in a remote area, you want to go camping in a remote area. But everybody gets so tied up in the titles, because people are saying like, oh, if you drive someplace in the middle of the Ozarks and set up a base camp and then go for the day and do day trips, that's just day 4x4ing. It's not overlanding. Yet it was overlanding to get to that destination. So it's just, who cares? Just get some tread on your tires, decent tread, at least something, no bald tires. Maybe four-wheel drive if you're lucky, locking or limited slip if you're even luckier, and two-wheel drive, and go explore. I mean, it's amazing what you could do in a two-wheel drive vehicle with some good tires and some ground clearance. It's even more amazing what you could do in an all-wheel drive vehicle. And most of these rigs that you see all decked out with all stuff, that's for that 10% that most vehicles can't make. So don't feel intimidated like, I need to spend $60,000 to get this overlanding 4Runner or this Tacoma or whatever. Just, what do you have? A Geo Tracker? Cool, go do it. A Toyota Corolla? Hey, just, you got to be a little extra careful because you're lower to the ground. A Prius, hey, you know, just be a little bit more extra careful. But just go explore. I mean, that's the thing, and explore someplace other than the malls. You know, it's like if you've been to Europe but you haven't been to rural America, you got a problem. That's a problem there in my mind. I've been all over the world, and nothing compares except for the buildings. It's kind of nice seeing buildings that are over a couple hundred years in Europe, but in rural United States, it's unbelievable, the vastness. And my wife and I were driving around the Mark Twain National Forest, and we didn't see, on a Saturday, on a holiday weekend, and we didn't see another car for 3 hours. In Washington State, I would go down forestry roads for 40, 50 miles without seeing another person. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of cool stuff you could do. There's people doing these trips in any kind of vehicle you can think of. So don't feel like you're hindered because you don't have a cool Tacoma, you don't have a cool, you know, 4Runner, you don't have, you know, the newest, latest, greatest. Most of those guys on Instagram, they just, you know, they go to places that aren't all that great. They make them look better. And there's a lot of guys that do some cool stuff, though. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of them don't. They're doing stuff that you could do in any vehicle, and they're making it look a little bit more extreme. So what I'm trying to say is, overlanding, off-roading, car camping, whatever you call it, just, if you like vehicles and you like going into the outdoors, just go do it regardless of what it's called. Don't be intimidated, and you know, it's just fun is what it is. I've been doing it for 20 something years. I had an old Blazer, then I had an FJ Cruiser, then, you know, kind of, now I'm going the opposite direction because now I've got a crappy Silverado and the Hyundai. But we're looking to get something else, not because we need it, just because we want a SUV of some sort. We don't know what we're getting. I had the Jeep, the Liberty. I got rid of that. I traded it for a four-wheeler. It was it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't the size I was looking for. Our Silverado, the one plus on it is that it's a 6.5 foot bed that's under my height. My wife and I can sleep in the back. Just put a mattress in the back and sleep in there. It's got decent ground clearance. It's kind of big though, because we want something a little like a mid-size vehicle. But yeah, so like let me know your definition of overlanding, off-roading, car camping, adventure travel. It's just interesting because everywhere I talk to, you know, I posted some personal videos to friends and everybody's like, oh, you guys are overlanding. You know, it's like, no, we're just checking out some property out in Arkansas, in rural America, that's how most people do it. It was funny because my wife and I were in her little green Hyundai, and one of these roads we came out of, you know, we're covered in mud, you know, we just did a water crossing, and as we were pulling out of there, coming into that same road was a whole convoy of these off-road rigs with the gas cans, the Rotoplex cans, you know, racks everywhere, and they're looking at us like we're crazy, and I was just like, hey, you know, just waved at them. But at the same time, I saw a little old lady in an old beat-up SUV going down the same road just to go to town. That's just a way of life for her. So it's just interesting. So I'll show you some clips of the Hyundai in action. It's pretty neat what you can do in a vehicle as long as you don't go crazy and just drive carefully. And you know, but the biggest thing is you want to go out there and have fun, explore, and then watch your speeds too on some of these forestry roads, because you may be flying down one of these roads and you're not the only person there coming the other direction. There may be somebody. So that's one thing. You do run into people here and there. The really good spots, you do tend to run into people more often than not. But yeah, kind of curious what people think about you know, it's funny because everybody's like, oh, this new thing, overland. It's like, no, it's been around. I remember 20 years ago reading magazines with Australian, you know, ARB bumper, you know, it's been around for a long time, way beyond that too. It's just, it's very trendy now. And it's because of Instagram, it's gotten very popular. And now, you know, it is the new lifted truck is now the overland rigs. Like I go to Walmart, I'm in Wisconsin right now. We bounce back and forth from here in Arkansas, and Arkansas, it's different. You've got river crossings, water all the time, gravel roads, mountains and things. When I lived in Oregon, it was the same thing. Lots of off-roading. Right now I'm in Wisconsin. There's nothing out here to off-road besides farm fields and stuff. I'll go to the Walmart and there'll be, every time I go there now, there's a truck with a rooftop tent, snorkel, racks everywhere, Rotoplex gas tanks and everything, and it's never seen off-road. And then I'll have you can't really see it back there, but I've got a Chrysler Crossfire, two-wheel drive, two-seater sports car that I go through mud, I go through gravel roads, I go through all kinds of stuff with it. And that has seen more off-road than a lot of these new overland mall cruisers. The term mall cruiser has been around forever, but it's these, you know, pavement princesses, you know, these trucks that have just never seen off-road. They're the guys that are like, as soon as they get their off-road vehicle, they're complaining about the, you know, they buy the off-road package with the mud tires and they're complaining about the sound. The first thing they do is the ceramic coating on there, you know, like, I don't even wash my vehicles. I mean, if I hose them off, if I get some salt on it or something like that, or some bugs, but I mean, you know, the tree branches and crap will just clean off the mud and whatever. It'll just fall off on its own. Or when it rains, it cleans the car pretty good. I do clean the inside, but vehicles are just a tool. You know, it's like I take care of the functional stuff, oil changes, differential changes, transmission, fluid change, you know, just that. But anything else, cosmetic, it's not a big deal, not a priority. But some people, that's their priority. You know, they cry when they get some pinstriping down the trails, and the term pinstriping is old school, where you go down narrow trails and tree branches scratch the side of your paint, and they leave these little scratches all down the side of your rig, and that is called like trail pinstriping. That's yeah, so it's, you don't need to go spend $70,000-$80,000 on some crazy overland rig like the new Toyota Land Cruiser. They finally brought it back, and now every soccer mom wants one, and they're paying $80,000, you know, more than sticker. And now people that, you know, it's funny, my wife, when we watch these, it goes in every realm. My wife always, she's like, why do you get so upset when you see this rig that's never going to see off-road, and it's all rigged for off-road? And I'm like, I don't get mad. It's just that it's not being used for what it's meant to be used for. It's like when my wife watches these home shows, and they build somebody this, my wife's, she loves cooking, canning and all, and they build these phenomenal chef's kitchens with like a Viking stove, and then the family that gets the house is like, oh my God, what am I going to do with that? I don't cook. And my wife gets upset because she's like, oh my God, I would love that. You know, so it's, I'm one of those, I try to get the most capable that for the budget, and within, you know, I don't try to get what I might need. I try to get what I do need, you know. So, you know, the Silverado, yeah, it does what we need it to do right now. In the Ozarks, it's a little tight. Out here, it's, you know, it's fine. We, you know, use it to go to the dump, use it for farm stuff, carrying hay, sleep in the back, whatever. But it's got, like I said, it's got decent all-terrain tires. It's okay. It doesn't have a locking rear differential, you know, which is I would, in my dream overland vehicle, I would want a locking differential, but it doesn't have one. And surprisingly, I've never gotten stuck, but I've never taken it in places where I know I would get stuck. My FJ Cruiser had a locking differential. I believe my Bronco did, I believe. And then a couple other vehicles, you know, but this one does not. The Hyundai actually has a locking electronic locker that locks all four wheels. And we actually had to use it in the Ozarks a couple times because some of the roads are a bit extreme. So I'm kind of curious to see what everybody thinks about this new old overlanding, you know, fad, I guess. It's kind of funny because now I'm seeing, you know, we used to see people had like 4x4 off-road on the side of the vehicle. Now they have big overland stickers, and it's just kind of funny. It's kind of like prepping. You don't need to, for us, it's a way of life. Same thing with homesteading. I don't need to I guess, tell the world. Even though I did get some hats printed for myself that says lazy homesteader, because lately I've been lazy, getting out of shape and slacking off on a lot of things, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, hopefully this was, I don't want to say helpful, because it's just crazy. It's just kind of one of those things I wanted to talk about, because it's just funny. I see it everywhere now. Like everybody's like, oh, overlanding. It's like, I've been into this forever, you know, like ARB bumpers. I had an ARB bumper back in the day, you know, I used to like look at those Australian off-road magazines, and it's just cool stuff. Land Cruisers, the Toyotas, the Helix, all these cool Toyotas that are available every other place but in America. Our Silverado, hand crank windows, rubber floor, four-wheel drive on the floor. You know, it has everything we need and nothing more. And that's my idea of adventure travel, is just the basics that will get me there and nothing more. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But I mean, kind of curious what everybody else thinks. It's fun to argue and in a fun way with people on the internet. The biggest argument I got, our family has a Hyundai pickup truck, the Santa Cruz. Everybody yelled at me. They're like, that's not a pickup truck. You know, it's like their feelings were hurt. I'm like, well, the state of Wisconsin registers it as a pickup truck. It is a pickup truck. It's built on a unibody, but it's still a pickup truck. You know, why argue about that? It is what it is. And it does more off-road than a lot of other people's big, you know, yeah, okay, that's my rant for today. Other than that, this is the 3rd of July, so happy 4th. Hopefully you're spending it with your friends, family, enjoying this great country. And yeah, if you've enjoyed any of my other videos, please like and subscribe. The biggest thing coming up, if anybody's watching this and paying attention, we're going to be moving more stuff to the Ozark property. And right now, this whole place, our 40 acres in Wisconsin, we're still have it, but we're downsizing, getting rid of everything. You know, UTV, four-wheeler, tractor, just getting rid of it all and starting over. There's a lot of things that we've had, didn't work, and it's just, when we're going to move to the other property, we're going to just kind of figure out dream list of what is good, what is not, and then get rid of it here instead of transporting it, just get new out there or used and just start over. And, you know, yeah, but hopefully this is somewhat helpful, but have a great 4th. Enjoy this great country. Yeah, it's just still the greatest country in the world. You know, we got to keep it that way. So, and then to all my fellow veterans, have a great 4th. All my fellow non-veterans, just my fellow Americans, have a great 4th. Enjoy it, you know, and see you in a bit. All right, thanks again. And please leave some comments. This whole overland thing is just, it's fun. I just like talking about it and hearing people's views, and, you know, kind of like the rubber ducks on Jeeps. Like I would go nuts. Like that's the other reason I got rid of my Jeep. I had a Jeep Liberty. It's not even a cool Jeep, and people put, you know, I just had to get rid of it. Can't do it. So, okay. Well, have a great 4th and great. And yeah, talk to you soon. Bye. You can see ahead. So. Because you know eventually you're gonna get
filming.
I mean, this is my epic entrance way that I kind of like, but at the same time I'm like, I mean, it isn't as, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, it's not as